Freestanding decks, ledger decks, what are they? What do they look like? Are they different? What does Custom Deck Creations do or recommend? We're gonna dive into all of that today in this video. My name is Phil Black. I'm the owner of Custom Deck Creations, a local licensed and insured builder that specializes in Trex decks here in Southeast Michigan. First, what is the difference between a freestanding deck and a ledger deck? What the heck does that mean? Freestanding deck means is that there's a deck built next to your home that is not physically attached or secured to your home. There are structural posts that go down into the ground that support the deck itself. A ledger deck means is that at least part of the deck is physically attached or ledgered to your home. There are lags or bolts or threaded steel rods physically connecting the structural element of your deck and the structural elements of your home. An important thing to remember is that when you are on your finished deck and you're walking around and using your deck, there is no visible difference between a freestanding deck and a ledger deck. From on top of your deck, it'll look identical. Where the differences are is underneath your deck, and really only critically important if you have a second story deck where you plan on putting a future patio underneath your deck. If you're planning on a future patio underneath your deck, you might want to consider less structural posts for your deck coming down. That'll open up the space for your future patio. The only way to accomplish that is by ledgering your deck to your home. But if you don't have a walkout basement, it's our recommendation to have your deck built freestanding. The reason for that is because with a freestanding deck, there are not punctured holes into your home, potentially inviting water to get inside your home. Now, a properly flashed ledgered deck, properly installed, shouldn't have any water issues for your home. Now, the number one reason that decks catastrophically fail or fall is an improperly installed ledgered deck, when that ledger was not properly flashed or has outlived its lifespan. So when you're talking with your local builder, be sure to ask them exactly how that ledger will be flashed, and always make sure that a ledger deck is permitted and a local building inspector has inspected that ledger attachment. Another thing to keep in mind with a ledger deck is that the flashing for that ledger, and flashing is the material that keeps water from getting behind the ledger, between that ledger board and your home, that flashing needs to wrap around that ledger and up underneath your siding. And that flashing needs to be visible not only to the inspector, but once the job is done as well. And that ensures proper inspection of that flashing in the future and doesn't permit water from creeping up and being blown up underneath your siding, eventually getting behind that ledger. As far as being able to ledger a deck to your home, keep in mind is that most municipalities in this country do not currently permit ledgering a deck to brick. So if your home is brick where your deck is going to be installed, ask your local building department or your local deck builder what options there are. Here in Michigan, only recently was it permitted to be able to install a ledger deck through brick, utilizing a very specialized connector called the BLVZ, or the Brick Veneer Ledgered Fastener. The Z stands for ZMAX, a proprietary coating that's applied to the BVLZ by the manufacturer Simpson Strong-Tie. Utilizing the BVLZ with a brick veneer home to ledger a deck through that brick, we're boring holes through the brick to get a solid connection from the ledger of your deck into the structural wooden members of your home. Now, one of the benefits of a ledger deck is because you are structurally securing your deck to your home, your deck may sway a little bit less than a freestanding deck. This really is only a consideration if your deck's height is about 9 feet or more off the grade. Otherwise, a freestanding deck can be built in a way with the proper lateral and diagonal bracing to reduce or eliminate that swaying, even for a higher off the grade deck. If at all possible, unless it's a second story deck with a patio or future patio, we typically always recommend a freestanding deck. Not only is a freestanding deck less expensive than a ledger deck, but it also doesn't introduce any possible water penetration issues of your home. So there you have it. What a freestanding deck is and a ledger deck is, what are the similarities and what are the differences. If you're in the Southeast Michigan area, give Custom Deck Creations a call. We'd love to meet you out at your home, evaluate your site or existing deck, and make a suggestion with you on freestanding versus ledgered.